All right. What's up, everybody? So I am doing this live video, first of all, because I don't feel like doing any editing and I just low key feel like chilling. But I did want to review the movie Us by writer and director Jordan Peele. All right. So I know everybody out there is like super confused right now, as I am, as to what exactly the movie was about, what are some of the themes of the movie, what were the overarching ideas that he was trying to get out there. I'm not attempting to answer all of your questions. I'm just going to give you guys what my perspective on things was. Some things that I liked, things that I didn't like. Obviously, Jordan Peele is a genius because I will be going back to the movie theater to watch it again so I can get a full grasp on what happened. So just kind of going off the top of my head, I don't have any notes written down like I normally do. Subscribe to my channel, like and comment. I would love to hear you guys' perspective on what happened in the movie Us, because I think a lot of us are still trying to figure it out. So I guess I'll start with things that I did like. Excuse me. So things that I did like. Number one, the opening sequence. And I did say spoiler alert, okay? Spoiler alert. Let me say that before we move forward further. Spoiler alert, I'm going to be giving away a lot of spoilers in this video. So if you haven't seen the movie and you want to see the movie and you don't want it to be spoiled for you, I would turn it off now and then just come back later. All right, so here we go. The opening sequence was super dope. I think it was extremely well done. I think in this year, starting in like 2018, I'll say maybe 2017, people really started to pay a lot of attention to their opening credit sequences. If you look at like the James Bond films in the early days, like in the 70s and the 60s of the James Bond films, those were like epic. And I think that those set the tone for a lot of what we're seeing today, like the movies like Roma, with the amazing movie opening that's just extremely unique, and it goes right into that first scene of the young lady mopping the driveway floor, and we're wondering what's going on. So I think that with Us, we're seeing like some of the remnant of the influence that like the James Bond movies have had, and even other movies that have had really big openings. I can't think off the top of my head right now, but I think that the opening for Us was super dope with the rabbit, and you get the soulful music. You get the choir singing with like over the gospel track. It's like really dope and really haunting at the same time. And that really made me excited to see what was to come next in the film. When I was watching that opening sequence, because it was just like, yo, this is super dope. Like I think this is going to be a great movie. So it was like the slow pan out. So there was the rabbits in the cages. It starts off with the one rabbit in the cage, and then it does like this slow pan out, which is really genius. And it shows like a bunch of different rabbits and a bunch of different cages, and they're all in the same room. And you're immediately wondering, like, wait, why are all these rabbits in one room and they're all in cages? And you start to speculate and wonder. So I think that was really well done. And like right after that opening credit sequence, it goes to the pan over the forest, and we get some other music. I think it's Childish Gambino, but whoever it is, we get like, no, it's the Janelle Monáe song, like that, like I like that or whatever. So it pans over the ocean, over the forest, which is dope, and then it goes right into the car. So I really like that whole little opening compilation scene with the credits all the way up to the time that they are in the car. Another thing that I liked about the movie was just the music, the musicality of it, and the sound scoring. Um, you guys hear me talk a lot about music in my videos because I know that music plays a big part of people's um people's affinity, people's liking the film, a person liking a film has a lot to do with the music that's in the film, is what I feel. And people don't always notice that. They don't always realize that. But if you watch a movie like Rocky, or if you watch a movie like even Superfly, the one that just came out in 2018, like you'll notice that the music of the film has a lot to do with how you feel about the film. So I think that Jordan Peele it did an excellent job with whoever did his musical directing. I probably should have checked that out before I did this video, but they did a great job with the musicality. I love the songs, the way they made you feel, the way that they led into the scenes, the way they spoke to the scenes. I think he did a really good job with that, especially in that opening credit sequence with the choir and with like this gospel feel. It was just super dope for me. The scoring was really good. So like the sounds that they were making while they were killing, the blood gushing, that sounds so bad, but I liked it. And like all the sounds really throughout the film, I think that they were really well done. And kudos to whoever did the scoring, and kudos to whoever did the musical directing of Us. So that was really good. All right, so let's flip over to some things that I didn't necessarily like. Okay, so one thing that I didn't really like was the, I don't want to say the sequencing of the film. I just feel like the buildup was very weird. Okay, so for me, the car ride was an extremely awkward scene. Even though it did tell us a lot, it did give us a lot of clues as to what we could expect in the movie. But at the same time, the whole car ride scene was very awkward. The father, them playing "I Got Five on It," the daughter telling them, the father, it was about the brother, that it was about drugs. Um, it worked because it kind of just showed up like what kind of messed up world we're living in, and the kid using the foul language, and the mother like stopping him and correcting him, and the father like, what are we doing here? Um, that kind of, it helped build the case for like it's a crazy twisted world, um in that respect, but I don't know what else it did on top of that. um yeah, I just didn't really understand a lot of what he was getting at with a lot of that film. And Jordan Peele is a genius, obviously. um he's a genius. He's really good at what he does. I'm just saying I didn't get it, like a lot of y'all out there. Y'all didn't get it either. So yeah, I didn't really like how every scene didn't necessarily tell what it needed to tell of the next scene that was coming up. So we didn't really get a precursor of what was to come from the former scenes. So in some ways that's a good thing, because you don't know what to expect in a movie and it's not predictable. So that's a good thing. But at the same time, you do want to be able to reference something and say, okay, so I'm taking this and I'm putting this with this scene, and now it makes sense for me. I don't think we were able to do that for a majority of the parts of the movie. And that leads me to my next point. I don't really think that he dropped enough crumbs for us as viewers. In the movie, you do want to leave a lot to the imagination, but at the same time, you don't want to lose your audience. And I think that's what happened, because when we left the movie theater, a lot of people were just like, oh, huh? Like what just happened? And you want that level of curiosity, but you do not want that level of confusion. And I think it was more so confusion that was happening, because I was confused. But I'm still curious, but I know a lot of people who are not curious at this point. Like they don't want, like they had to work too hard to try to get it, and they almost had to be too deep to try to get it. So they like, nah, I don't even want to try it. But as me, I'm a film lover, so I appreciate all art, and I try to appreciate all art, and be non discriminative when it comes to certain things. But everybody ain't like that. So I think he might lose a lot of people with the deepness of this one. And I've been there and done that before too. Like I feel like I've made a movie that people were just like, huh? Like what? But I understood it. Like it was something that I needed to get off my chest. So as artists, we have to do these things. But yeah, so I just personally think that there was too much left up to the imagination as opposed to certain things being told. So give us more Easter eggs, give us more crumbs, really, and tell us exactly sometimes what this means. Because if you don't sometimes tell people exactly what this means, well, too much interpretation, people have different opinions about their interpretation, and nobody can come to a center and say, "Well, I know for sure that this meant this," because you can't really do that with this film. You're not. It's not explained well enough. So I do wish that there were more clues given and more intentionality to giving out details, because I think that it kind of got lost in the sauce. All right, another thing that I didn't necessarily like about the film was the non-explanation of the Hands Across America deal. I'm a '90s kid. I was born in 1990, and I do remember somewhat of Hands Across America. I remember the commercials and maybe like billboards or something, but I remember being reintroduced to it as like a teenager. Um, and if y'all remember those shows on VH1, they used to have I love the '70s, I love the '90s, I love the '80s, and all that stuff. I used to watch that, and then I saw Hands Across America from I love the '90s, and I was like, oh, I remember that. Blah 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 blah. Hands Across America. And from what I remembered, it was about like unity, what could happen if all the people in America got along and we all joined hands on this one day and everything was good, and we all were unified. What would happen? So I- I'm coming from that place when I say I feel like I know what he's trying to get at when he has the doppelgangers join hands and they're all across America. I feel like I know what he means by that, but I don't. So I think that he's saying like when we have a united front, we can do anything. And they were able to basically take over the United States and do anything when they joined hands. They were able to basically conquer the above world people, like the land people, and they were unified. And all the land people were dead because they didn't know what was happening and they weren't unified. So I think I know where he's going with that one, but I'm not 100% sure. Don't take it and run with it. This is like I haven't even watched anybody else's vlog about this or anybody else's like breakdown of this movie, so I haven't even really gotten to like dive into the theories and stuff myself. So this is just off the top of the dome. But I think that a better explanation of what Hands Across America was and what it meant for the film would have given us a lot more ground and a lot more foundation for understanding the film. And I don't think we had that. Um, so yeah, Hands Across America. Wish that was explained. Also, I think I have a theory about what he was saying with the underground people, in particular, Lupita Nyong'o's character. So her character was actually, we found out later in the film that she was switched out. So the above world girl, I keep calling them above world, but that's just how we're gonna play it. Above world girl, she got switched out with the underground girl, and the underground world got to live the above girl world's life. And it looks like she made a great showing for her life. She was married with kids, she was happy. The only thing was that she would just have these moments of fear that the underground people would come and get her, and because she didn't want to go back underground. And I think that what they were saying with that is that sometimes we as human beings just don't appreciate the things that we have, like the grateful, we're not grateful for the things that we have, and then somebody else could get our exact situation and somebody else could get our exact life and be very happy with it, and do like great things with it and appreciate it a whole lot more than what we were able to appreciate it. I think that's what that speech was about at the end that the doppelganger gave to Lupita Nyong'o, is that She's like, you see the sun in the sky, you see all these different things, and we don't get to see any of this. Like we're underground and we're forgotten about, and we live these miserable lives. And then it shows that people galvanized around her character. She was from, this is like just coming to me. She was from the above world, but then she was taken down to the lower world, and people were then able to galvanize themselves around Lupita Nyong'o's character. I'm piecing this together as I go, so don't lose me. They were able to galvanize around her and unify, and that's when they had this whole plan to do the Hands Across America thing. So maybe somebody from the upper world who lost everything that they had now would appreciate better what was happening in the current time. So maybe she was able then to galvanize other people along with her to unify to take over the upper world. I don't know if that made sense, but that's just what I came up with. So, but I do wish that was explained more. Um, why she was swapped out? Why? What's the significance of her being swapped out? And why we were rooting for her the whole movie, and then it turns out that she's the girl that we shouldn't have been rooting for, but maybe we should have because she was the less privileged girl. I don't know. I don't understand. And then another theory that I had was about the Mexico thing, because Lupita Nyong'o, she says, "Let's go to Mexico," and um, this is when all the crazy stuff is happening on TV. They see other families are getting killed and people are getting killed around the nation, and the girl who is a doppelganger, she says, "We're Americans." That's one of the things she says during the movie. She says, "We're the doppelganger says we're Americans," and Lupita Nyong'o and everybody else is like freaked out. Like, what does that mean? Well, later on in the movie, Lupita says, "Let's go to Mexico." I think that's a metaphor for how President Trump has been treating other nations when it comes to America. The whole idea of make America great again, I think Jordan Peele is playing with that idea throughout the movie, Make America Great Again. Um, because Trump, if we all remember, early in his presidency, he started calling out Mexicans as rapists. He started calling them out as murderers. He started calling them out as all these different things, and he really demonized being from Mexico and all these things. Well, Lupita is now making Mexico a haven. So it's like flipping that idea that America has all these murderers and all these bad people. Let's go and seek safe haven in Mexico. I think that's what we're going for here in the Us movie. Can't say 100%. Of course, can't say 100% nothing in this movie, but yeah, it's almost been 20 minutes that I've been ranting, but I need to get this out because I'm trying to understand the movie myself. Okay, so yeah, I think it definitely has to do with the idea of Make America Great Again and how Jordan Peele is really showing us ourselves. That's that duality part. Like he's showing us like this is what we are. Like there are people who are who we consider to be under us who are going to unify, and they're going to overtake us because we don't appreciate what we have, and we think that what we have is promised to us. Like we think that what we have is just like a given. So I think that even goes with the idea of them having a boat, them going on vacation, them having that summer home. Like they had all these different things, but at the same time, they didn't necessarily always appreciate it. The dad calls them brats. The dad says that they're spoiled in the movie and all this different stuff. So great movie to check out for social context. If you're that type of person that you like movies that deal with like a social climate and you like to guess and you like to wonder about different things that are happening in the world, definitely a good movie for you to go see. I'm going to go see it again because I need to figure out what it's all about. Kudos to Jordan Peele. The movie broke mad records this weekend. I think it's the highest grossing opening weekend for a horror film ever. So they made some money off this movie, which is amazing. Black filmmakers, let's just keep making these big box office hits. I'm with it. I'm so with it. I'm going back to see Us again. And yeah, if you're ready to get trippy, go see Us. And if you're ready to figure stuff out, go see Us again. All right. So once again, subscribe to my channel. That was a longer rant than what I thought it was going to be. I'm going to go ahead and end my stream. Thanks for checking me out. I'll see you guys later. Peace.